So as usual, the first pair we're going to be deliberating today is going to be the US oil. And on the US oil, what do we have here? So we have the US oil on the charts right now, and we've been on a bullish momentum since the beginning of the week. We've actually been holding a buy position after the breakout of the $92 level, which we identified on the higher time frame. And before I go further into the current structure we have here and the position we have here at this point in time, I think it's appropriate we take a look at the higher time frame to see how we got into the bullish expectation, especially for those who are not part of the session on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So what I will be doing at this point is to scale up into the daily time frame. I think the daily or weekly time frame, so that we can look at how we got into the current position we are in at this point. So now, if you look at what is happening on the weekly time frame, it is very obvious that price action has been on a strong bullish momentum in the last couple of years. And what I did here on the weekly time frame is to connect the series of higher lows, which I'm highlighting on the screen right now. So after connecting the series of higher lows here, we were able to identify a resultant bullish trend line. And one thing we have noticed in the last couple of weeks, I think 3 to 4 weeks now, we have seen our price has continued to reject this bullish trend line at this point and giving us a clue into a possible bullish momentum that could be arising from this area. So after identifying this bullish trend line, the next thing we did was to zoom into the structure and look at what has been happening since the beginning of the year. And when we look at what has been happening since the beginning of the year, we can see that we have a key level at around the $85 area. And if we look at how that level has been a major determinant of price action in the past, we will notice that during the later part of last year, we saw how this level rejected price action as sellers took over the market from that point, and then we witnessed a breakout of that level at the beginning of the year, and price went to as far as the $130 level before we saw a retracement move back into that bullish trend line, which also shares a confluence with the key level at the $85 level. So our plan at the beginning of the week was to look out for possible bullish momentum, in the sense that price will probably respect that bullish trend line one more time to push price to the upside. That is the first scenario we're looking at. And then we also took into consideration a possibility that we could be having a breakdown of that bullish trend line or the key level to give us the signal of a bearish momentum. But since the beginning of the week, we haven't seen any clue that suggests that price is going to be going bearish from this point, as all the scenarios we saw on lower time frame supported a bullish potential opportunity on the US oil. So after we identified the structure on the higher time frame, the next thing we did was to scale down to the lower time frame, where we begin to see things more clearly. So when we scale down to the 4 hours time frame, the next thing I observed here on the 4 hours time frame is to identify this bearish trend line after connecting the series of higher lows. So after we connected the series of higher lows here, we identified this bearish trend line that has held price resisted by the sellers since the month of June, and we can see how this level has consistently been respected. But one thing happened here during the early days of this week. We saw a final breakout of that bearish trend line to give us that signal that we have been waiting for, showing us that that bearish trend line is no longer going to be strong enough to hold price action any longer. So immediately we identified that breakout of that bearish trend line here on the 4 hours time frame. The next thing I did was to identify the $92 level. And the reason why we identified that $92 level is just because of what we saw in the past. Here we saw how this level also has been a demand niche. We saw how that area has been respected. We saw selling opportunities at this point before the breakout, and then during the course of last week trading session we saw selling opportunities from that point. So we needed to be very sure that this bullish momentum is going to hold, despite the fact we saw that breakout of that bearish trend line. Remember, we've been bearish since the month of June, and for us to be saying that okay, we are looking for bullish potential here, we need to be very sure that price is actually going bullish. So what I said here is this: we want to see how price is going to relate with the $92 level in such a way that if we see a reversal pattern from this point, then we'll be thinking that the bearish trend line, that the breakout of that bearish trend line could probably be a false one, and price could be going to the downside from there. But if we see a breakout of that $92 level, then we are going to be thinking of bullish momentum from that point onward. So the next thing we did was to identify the $92 level, and we scaled down to a much lower time frame, like the 1 hour time frame. So on the 1 hour time frame, we've now moved into an area where we begin to see that we have a structure lining up for us in the form of a bullish trend line. After connecting the series of higher lows here, we were able to see that we are having a structure already that's probably going to be guiding a bullish momentum in the future. So as soon as we saw the breakout of the structure, that is the $92 level here, we joined the rally. And I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, I shared with you this consolidation phase here. We saw the breakout of that structure, and I told you that a retest of that structure should give us a confirmation to join the trend continuation to the upside. And lo and behold, we had like multiple rejection of that level, giving us multiple entries at that point, and price continued to the upside from here. So we were around this point during yesterday's trading session. That is, we saw how this area at the $95-96 area has been rejecting price action by the sellers, and we said okay, fine, since we have that kind of scenario there, then it's very likely that we could be experiencing a bearish momentum. So what I said at that point is that we want to be patient, especially for those who are yet to join that bullish momentum we've been enjoying since the beginning of the week, that we should be patient to wait for price action to come back in the form of a retest of that structure that was broken earlier in the week. Remember, I told you we had the breakout of the structure here, we had a retest of the structure here, and I told you yesterday that there is a likelihood that price could either come back into the structure around this point or the $92 level, where we want to be looking forward to reversal patterns that will support a trend continuation to the upside. So now that we said that yesterday, what has been happening in the last 24 hours? Now we can see that we have price doing a sharp rejection of that structure that was broken a couple of days ago. We saw the sharp rejection here. I think this is going to be the second rejection after we saw the first one around this point. So now since we are on a bullish potential, we are on bullish perspective on the US oil, and looking at the bullish trend line we were able to identify here on the 1 hour time frame. As long as price is rolling right above that bullish trend line, we should be comfortable in our bullish momentum. So right now, what do we have here, and how do we intend taking advantage of a potential opportunity this New York session today? Before I go further here, it is appropriate I made mention here that we should also take into consideration of the fact that today is the last trading day of the week. Remember, and we want to be very mindful on how we hop into any trade today, because most of the time Something that is peculiar with Fridays is that participants in the market who have taken advantage of a bullish momentum since the beginning of the week will likely want to be doing quick sales with the intention of taking some profits before the week closes. So I think that is why we've been seeing this retracement move to the downside around this area, implying that participants are actually doing a quick sell on this one. So for those who are not in this trade at this point, and then you're looking to take advantage of a trend continuation, what do we want to be looking forward to during the New York session today? Now, what we have here in the last 24 hours, we have the sharp rejection of that buy zone, which was identified at the $92 level. And then we have seen price finding new highs and new higher lows. Now, with this current structure here, and how do we intend moving, taking advantage of that move? So one thing I want to be doing here is to scale down to the 15 minutes time frame, where I want to see what is happening within this consolidation phase that began in the later part of the New York session yesterday. So we want to identify this consolidation phase. Let's see what's happening here and what could be the possible direction from this point. So one thing we want to do here is to bring out our line charts, and let's connect and find out how this level has been holding price action. So the first thing we want to do here is to connect this level. So we have something that looks like a bullish trend line. I want to make this a little bit, it's not. So we have this one here, and then we have something like this here too as well. So we have something that looks like a ascending channel. Price is caught with the neck consolidation phase since the later part of the New York session yesterday, giving us a clue into the indecision that has gripped the market at this point. So now that we have this setup here now, what we want to be doing is to look out for breakout of the structure to give us a signal of where price is heading. So we could have a possible breakdown of the structure, that is, price breaks down this channel, a retest of that channel, moving back to the downside. That's one scenario we want to be looking at this morning. And the other scenario is if we are going to be having a break above of the structure, giving us a signal of a bullish momentum after a retest of structure happens. So these are the things we want to be looking forward to. But one thing I want to say here is that we all understand that we've been on a bullish momentum since the beginning of the week. So we want to be looking for buying opportunity here, not selling opportunities. So even if we have a breakdown of this channel here, I'm still thinking that price is likely breaking the channel to probably do a retest of that bullish trend line, which we identified on the 1 hour time frame, or probably move as far as into the buy zone here, where we want to be looking for reversal pattern right around the $92 level, which we identified on Monday, and the breakout of that structure should give us a confirmation to join the rally to the upside. So that's one scenario we want to be looking forward to. So what I'm saying here simply is, if we do have a breakdown of this channel, well, I don't want to be selling, considering that we've been on a bullish momentum since the beginning of the week. So I want to see price do a retest, come back into somewhere around the level at the $92 level, which we identified on Monday, which also shares a confluence with the buy zone, which we identify here, and then a reversal pattern on lower time frame to give us that confirmation to go to the upside. So that's one scenario we want to be looking forward to. Then the other scenario is that we look out for a breakout of this channel in the form of a breakout to the upside here, and that will give us a signal. Remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of a signal. We want to wait for price action to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. Then we can join the rally to the upside from there. So this is how we intend taking advantage of the bullish momentum. So whatever opportunity comes up during the New York session today, we want to be on standby to take advantage of that move. Now, that being said, the other thing I want to put here to make our job easier is to look forward to, that is, if we see a breakout of that structure to the upside, I want to be identifying a level that will be our guide for the week. So what we want to be looking forward to here, so I've identified a level right around the $93.70 area. So let me label this area for the sake of clarity, so that we don't get things mixed up when we are about taking advantage of that bullish momentum. So we have a $93.70 level here, and the reason why I have had this level here is simply because it's simply this. If we look into the left, we can see how this level has held price supported. We saw how this led price supported before the breakdown happened. Then we had a rejection around this area. We had a rejection around this area by the sellers as well. So if we are going to be buying this US oil, we want to see the actual breakout of that structure. That is, if we are having a breakout of that channel, we want to see an outright breakout of that structure, giving us a clue of a bullish potential. Then a retest of that level of somewhere around here will give us further confirmation to join the rally to the upside. So what this simply means around the $93.70 level is that if we are in a buy position on this one, anywhere right above the $93.70 level is a very, very comfortable zone to be in a buy position on the US oil. So this is the scenario we want to be looking forward to on the US oil today. So let's get ourselves prepared and be on standby to take advantage of that move. That is for those who are not in this trade yet. So if you have any question whatsoever regarding what I have just discussed so far, feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section to inquire further, and I am willing to be of help in that regard. So that is that on the US oil.